Yes, great. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study circle. We had a gap of last 2 weeks of not having the Bhagavad Gita study circle due to the festival, as well as last week I was traveling and I had no internet connection, so I couldn't actually organize for the session on the last Sunday. So there are some new upcoming events that are there in this particular month. Janmashtami is there, Balram Jayanti is there, and before that we have the Garuda Panchami, and of course after Janmashtami there is Prabhupada's appearance day. So we have the festival season on, and there is going to be so many festivals. So let me add all of you. So I think, yeah, this is the reason why I couldn't actually earlier hear your voice. Yes, I think now I think we can all interact. So this is how last week and the upcoming weeks there'll be a lot of buzzing activities here. Temple will be with so many devotees coming in and out because of the festivals. So it's going to be a very special event because Janmashtami is the most awaited, one of the biggest festival in ISKCON across the world. So it's going to be very special. So we are celebrating on 2 days, 25th and 26th of August, and 27th we are celebrating Prabhupada's appearance day, and Balram Jayanti is on 19th. So we have so many things to understand about all these wonderful pastimes. You can try and hear more and more about Bhagavad Gita, chant more number of Hare Krishna mantra. So that will be really very nice. So coming back to the Bhagavad Gita study circle, so we have completed 14 chapters. The last chapter was the three modes of material nature. And we have understood how these three modes actually control every situation in this world. Most of this whole material world is actually driven by these three forces, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. And how it affects us also, because since we are made up of this material body, which is made up of five elements, it affects us also. This upcoming chapter, 15th chapter, is called the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Prabhupada names it as the Yoga of the Supreme Person, which is also called as Purushottama Yoga. Purushottama Yoga is very famous, very special, and in terms of the number of verses, it is considered to be one of the smallest chapters, one of the shortest chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter and Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter have just 20 verses. So it is shortest, but doesn't mean shortest mean that it has no information. There is so much of information packed into it. A lot of knowledge is packed into it, and that's why this is very very special, because specifically Krishna in the 20th verse he says that this is a shastra. This particular chapter in the whole Bhagavad Gita, Krishna here is actually saying that this is a Shastra. Shastra means what? A scripture. What Krishna is saying? Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, this particular, uh, no, yeah, 15th verse and the 20th verse, Krishna says very interestingly here, he says that Iti Guhyatamam Shastram. Krishna is saying, Iti Guhyatamam Shastram. This is a very special knowledge. It is a confidential knowledge and it is Shastra. Now, why Krishna is calling it as a Shastra? What is a Shastra? This is what we have to understand. See, any scripture which deals with the most fundamental topics, the most important topics of spirituality, that should be called as Shastra. See, Bhagavad Gita, we call it as a Shastra, a scripture. Why? Because it contains all the fundamental aspects of spirituality. Now, what are those fundamental aspects of the spirituality? The nature of the soul, nature of the jiva, the nature of Ishvara, nature of God, Prakriti, the whole environment that we have, the material modes. We have the karma, the interaction between the jivas and Paramatma, and the karma, the kala. So, all these put together when it comes into one single book, or you can say one single uh, place, then what happens is it's called a shastra. So shastra is what, which includes all these fundamental topics of spirituality. It's very, very important. So Bhagavad Gita is a shastra because you see, it's right from the beginning, chapter 1. So many different aspects are covered. All these fundamental aspects are covered about Jiva, about Ishvara, about Karma, about Kala, about Bhakti, about different types of yogas, right? All these different things are explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So that's why this is Guyyatamam Shastram. And in specifically, this chapter 15 is called as Shastram because, in a sense, all the topics are summarized here in this particular chapter 15. Although Prabhupada calls second chapter as a summary of the Bhagavad Gita, it titles that as summary of the Bhagavad Gita, which also includes all the different topics of the Bhagavad Gita in that chapter. Here, Purushottama Yoga, many people also call it as a summary of the Bhagavad Gita. It is very important to know that this particular chapter, people chant it very normally before eating prasadam. They chant this. You start any auspicious thing, they chant this Purushottama Yoga. Many times when people want to start something, do something, they actually chant this Purushottama, just 20 verses. They chant this 20 verses and they feel very satisfied about this. So we should know that why all this is happening, why they chant this particular chapter 15, because they want to remember Purushottama. Who is that Purushottama? Krishna. When we want to remember Krishna all the time, then the best thing would be just chant these verses. And if you can know the meaning of this verses, then nothing like that. When you know and understand the meaning of this Purushottama Yoga chapter, then automatically what is happening is you are in union with Krishna. When you understand this Purushottama Yoga, you are coming in contact with Krishna very nicely. So this is very special, Purushottama Yoga. And like I said, we are dealing with the last six chapters now of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the philosophical aspect. A lot of philosophical, intricate philosophical aspects are discussed in the last six chapters. So here also, Krishna begins this chapter by describing the samsara vriksha. Now, what is this samsara vriksha? We have to understand. What is samsara? What is this vriksha? Vriksha means a tree. Now, samsara means for many people, they define it in different ways. People define samsara as world. Samsara means this world. Some people they refer samsara to as a burden of responsibilities. Oh, samsara, so much of responsibility. I'm in this samsara, so much of responsibility is there on me. Then for some people, it is a pot of worries. Samsara. I'm in this samsara, so much of worries is there. They correlate like that. And for some people, samsara means wife. So a lot of worries are there. Lot of people think that it's a world. For some people, it's a burden of responsibility. But what this samsara? Samsarati iti samsara. Samsarati iti samsara means that which constantly changes is called samsara. The primary meaning of samsara is that which constantly changes is called samsara. So this samsara, vriksha, means is a vriksha, a tree which is constantly changing. So Krishna is describing about this constantly changing tree, this vriksha. And you know what? We actually don't like change in our life. We want a permanent home. We don't want a rented house. We want a permanent job, not a contract job. We all want something which is constant. Anytime when there is a change, there is inconvenience to us. When we want to change a home, see one place to another place, there is so much of worry and anxiety. What will happen there? What will happen here? So many things you need to manage. When you want to change something, when there is a change, then there is a kind of worry, there is a kind of pain in our heart, right? So this samsara is like that. It's constantly changing, and that's why people are in constant worry and anxiety. So Krishna is explaining that this whole world is called samsara because it is constantly changing and giving us anxiety all the time. So this samsara vriksha is Krishna going to elaborate more and more in this chapter. Samsara, in scripture, samsara is referred to many things. Samsara, just imagine now, it's like a burning house. Not in the literal sense, but I'm just trying to give you an idea that just imagine if we are caught up in a burning home, it is like, you'll be surrounded with fire, and you can imagine the situation of a person who is caught up in a fire like that. All around you, there is just fire. There is so much of anxiety, that fear of death, all that is surrounding us, right? Isn't it? So difficult it is. So samsara means it's like a burning house. And for some, samsara is like a python. Python. Just imagine a person who is being swallowed by the python, who is being, taken inside the python, and the python is just digesting that person by making the coils around the tree. You can imagine the person suffering. So samsara is like being caught up in the python. Very, very difficult, very painful it is. And for samsara, it is also called as the ocean. We call it bhavasagara. Samsara is like a ocean, where you can imagine a person who is caught up in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, where the waves are tossing him up and down, and there is no lifeboat, nobody to save. You can imagine the situation of that person. You see in yourself in that situation how it would be. You can't really swim across because the ocean is so huge, and you're caught up in the middle somewhere. It is so terrible situation. Samsara is like that. Samsara is, just like the ocean is endless, the samsara is like endless. And constantly the waves are changing, right? In the ocean, constantly the miseries and the worries are changing in this Bhavasagara. So samsara is like thick forest. Thick forest, you can imagine miles and miles of forest, and you are in the middle of the forest somewhere, completely lost. There are wild animals there. You'll be so fearful, and especially in the dark, when it becomes dark, so many creatures are moving around, and you just don't know how to live and exist. We are not meant to be living in the forest. Very difficult. Wild animals are there. For some people, samsara is like desert. In desert, what happens? you know it appears that far away there is some water, but actually it's a mirage. So, samsara, in this world, many people think that there is happiness, but then there is no happiness. So, we are caught up in the samsara. Some people, the samsara is like bad dreams. You know, there is reality and there is a dream, right? So, whatever is there is in reality, we see that in the dream. So, but the dream is not actual. In dream, we are in painful situation. But in reality, we are not. But dream, we imagine so many things. So in this samsara also, it's like a bad dream, which we are actually supposed to wake up now. We have to wake up and go back to the spiritual world. But in the dream, when it is so bad, because it's a samsara, we are having this constant worries and problems. For some people, it is samsara means disease, the bhava rogas, constant disease are there. So that is a problem. Then for some people, samsara is like a kupa. Kupa means what? A well, a deep, dark well. You can imagine being caught up in the well. Deep well, somewhere somebody is fallen, nobody to save. It is so painful, so horrific it is. So, Shastras are giving us different ways to analyze this samsara, and Krishna is actually beginning this chapter by talking about this samsara, which is so inauspicious. But we should know that there is nothing inauspicious when Krishna says. It appears that Krishna is starting to talk about the samsara vriksha, which is so inauspicious. But we should know that suffering itself is the beginning of auspiciousness. Prabhu, how is that? Yes, because only when we actually understand and become aware of our suffering, then we will actually strive to know who am I? What is the goal of my human life? What is my ultimate goal? Who is God? How? What is my connection with God? All these fundamental questions will arise when people are in suffering. But if you are really not in suffering, then people are so happy in this material world, in the samsara, they think that it's all auspicious. But no, suffering actually brings a person to the point of asking fundamental questions that yes, I am suffering. To be aware that I am suffering in this samsara is also a great boon. Many people don't even understand and realize this fact. First of all, I am suffering, but to be aware of I am suffering is a great boon. You see, Kunti Maharani, what is just asking? You please give me more and more problems, oh my Lord, so that I can remember you. So, what happens is, for a sober person, when he suffers, it becomes a medium for him to remember Krishna and be dependent on Krishna. So that's why Krishna is talking about or beginning this chapter by talking about suffering vriksha, a tree which is gives us a lot of problem. So being aware of the problem, being aware of the pain is very important in our life. Many people don't understand this. But the spirituality begins when we understand the material sufferings that we are undergoing. So this is very, very important, right? So actually, I couldn't make the PPT, but let me try and see if I can present at least the shloka to all of you. I hope this is kind of visible. Yeah. Uh, Dave, is this visible to you, this shloka?
Yes, it's
Okay.
visible, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. So let's chant this. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Urdhvamulam Adhashakam
Udvamulam Advarakshakakam
Ashwatham Prahuravyayam
Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam
Chandamsi Yasya Parnani
Chandam Yasya Pranani
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Yastam Veda Savedavit
Okay, once again. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Urdhvamulam Adhashakam
Urdhvamulam Advakshakam
Ashwatham Prahuravyayam
Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam
Chandamsi Yasya Parnani
Chandamsi Yasya Parnani
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Yastam Veda Savedavit.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an impressionable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Hare
Yes, thank you
Krishna.
so much. This is such a wonderful thing. Krishna is saying what tree it is? It is a very unique tree. It is an imperishable banyan tree, right? So it is said here, Krishna is saying that Urdhvamulam Adashakam Ashwattam Prahur Avyayam. Very, very nice. So here, let us see now. Urdhvamulam. Who is talking about this tree? Prahu. Who? Wise people. They are saying. Who is saying? The Prahu. The wise people are saying. What are they saying? That there is a very unique tree which has Urdhva Moolam. Moolam means roots. Urdhva Moolam means the roots are higher and the branches and the leaves are lower. The branches are below, the roots are on the top. So that is why this is a very unique tree which we will not find anywhere in the world. Have you seen any tree where the roots are on the top and the branches are below? No, we don't see that, right? So that is why this is a very unique tree. Very, very special. And what are the leaves here? The leaves of these trees are Chandamsi. Chandamsi means the Vedic mantras, the Vedic hymns are the leaves of this tree. So now Krishna is saying, one who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. That means if you want to call yourself a very knowledgeable person, then you should know this unique tree which has the roots on the top and the branches below. This is a very, very special tree. So we are all here to understand about this very unique tree now. So this tree has branches which are spread all in different directions, everywhere. All different directions the branches are spread. Because what type of tree this is? Samsara vriksha. This is not ordinary vriksha. This is samsara vriksha. So in the whole world there is no such tree that we see. But this whole creation Krishna is calling it as a samsara vriksha. Now this tree which has the roots on the top and the branches below represents the samsara which we earlier discussed. And what is this tree? It is Ashwatha tree. It is a banyan tree. Now, this Ashwatha, three letters or three syllables are there in this Ashwatha. So, Tha means that which remains. Shwa means tomorrow. A means not. Ashwatha means that which does not remain tomorrow or that which does not remain the same tomorrow is called Ashwatha tree. That means that which is constantly changing is called the Ashwatha tree. This samsara saga. That's what I told earlier. Samsarati iti samsara, which never remains the same. This is something which we should know very deeply within our heart that this world is constantly changing and we have to accept it because this is very, very important for us to practice spirituality. People want permanency, but the fact of the matter is that this world is changing all the time. There is no permanency in this world. And people are struggling so hard day and out, day and night. Why? Because they want permanency. You see all these ministers, for example, they want their seat to be permanent. I want to be this particular minister all the time. As long as I breathe, I want to have that. But no, that seat is gone. No permanency is there. Correct? So, Ashwatha means that which does not remain tomorrow the same. So understanding of the people will change. You see, our understanding of the people that we are close to, that will change. People will change. The world will change. Our perception about this world and things will change. Constantly it is changing, isn't it? So we should know that we are caught up in this samsara vriksha. And what this one who gets tossed by the waves of this samsara is called samsari. One who is affected by this change is called samsari. One who is feeling the pain and pleasure of this samsara is called samsari. So most people in this world are caught up in this samsara and are affected by this samsara and they have become samsari. Krishna is exactly saying this. You all have become samsaris. And what type of tree this is? It is Ashwatha tree. It is this tree, but it is avyayam. Means what? It is imperishable. How imperishable? Prabhuji, you said that this is constantly changing, and now you are saying it is imperishable. That means what? It is avyaya means it is constantly changing and it is continuously changing. Means there is no end to this change. It's not like Prabhuji, it will stop changing or my life will stop changing after my death. No, even after death, we will not be stagnated. It will change. Our body will change. We will be given to another. We will be given another body. So this soul has to transmigrate from one to another. So there is a constant change. No, Prabhu, not after this death, but maybe when the Mahapralaya will happen, then this change will stop. No. Again, there is pralaya. Again, there is creation. Again, there is maintenance. Constantly, we are in this samsara vriksha. This most painful, the tree of suffering is, we are caught up in this tree of suffering so much, so badly that we are not able to escape. And this is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Continuously, this cycle is making us suffer. There is no way to get out of this. We have become samsaris. See, this is our situation. Imperishable tree, this is avyayam. It is not going to stop even after our death, even when there is Mahapralaya. Right? So that is why if you really want to get out of this samsara vriksha, then the only thing that can help is knowledge. That imperishable knowledge is required now. ओम अज्ञान तिमिरंधस्य ज्ञानंजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. This is how we actually start. See, today actually I had forgotten the pranam mantras because I forgot that PPT, but I had forgotten the pranam mantras. And I started directly, but somehow Lord inspired and at least made me chant this. Om Ajnana Timirandasya. Right? So we get caught up in this ajnana, sometimes this kind of ajnana also, that you forget certain things. You see, this is a very important thing, that how, if we see, analyze that how Prabhupada has so systematically given us this knowledge to make us understand at least that we are suffering. Right? People outside don't know this. And this tree which we are talking about is not the external tree. This samsara vriksha is not that which is visible to us outside. It is a tree that exists within us. It is there within us. Right? So let us understand about this tree a little bit more. What actually nourishes a tree? If you see this any other tree in this world, what nourishes the tree? The tree is nourished by the moolam. What is that? Roots. The roots are the one which actually gives nourishment to the whole tree. Correct? But that which actually nourishes the tree, the roots, are not visible to the world. It is beneath. What is being seen is only the tree and the fruits and the flowers, but the root which is nourishing is not seen to the world. So this whole material world, which is actually creation of the world, which is creation of the Lord is the root of this, but He is not seen. What we see is only this world, right? So just like the roots are not seen, God, who is actually giving the poshana or nourishing this tree, is not seen to us. Right? He is somewhere below. He is not to be seen. The Paramatma is the root of this whole samsara. So he is the one who is actually giving existence to this whole material world. So God is actually called Urdhva. What is Urdhva? Urdhva means that which is higher, that which is actually maintaining all of us. See, anything that is higher is also superior. When we call, for example, higher mathematics, higher mathematics means what? That which is difficult to understand. It's not like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It's very simple. When we call higher mathematics, oh, that person has studied higher mathematics, means what? It is something which is difficult to understand. So God is called Urdhva, which is God is something higher. Why? Because He's difficult to understand. It's not so easy to understand. God is actually difficult to understand. God is difficult to understand through this material senses and mind and body. Very difficult to understand. God through His eyes, we cannot understand. Right? Many times people say, Prabhuji, aapne jo bola, it all went above my head. Above my head means what? Difficult to understand. I didn't understand anything. So it is all going above my head. That is difficult to understand. Urdhva, God is Urdhva because He is higher. The cause is higher, the effect is lower. Right? We all, people in the scientific world, they always are studying the causation theory, right? Cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Cause is higher, the effect is lower. God is the cause, and this material world is the effect. So He's higher, right? You see, similarly, uh, our parents, they are the cause, they are the karana, they are the cause of our existence, right? Our parents, that we were so connected to them. A person may be a Nobel laureate, maybe a very, very famous person in this world, but when he comes before his mother or a father, he has to pay obeisances. He has to do pranams to their parents. Why? Because the father and mother are higher. They may be illiterate compared to this Nobel laureate, but he still has to bow down because they are on the higher position. Right? So the cause, they are the cause. So they are karanatvat urdhvam. So they are the cause, that's why they are urdhvam, they are higher. God is ultimate cause, that's why He is the highest person. God is changeless. So that's why He's called urdhvam. God is not like, today is one and tomorrow something else. No. We are constantly changing our bodies. God doesn't change. Our body keeps changing. But the person within the body, the Atma, is the same. So that's why we are able to remember our past actions, right? So right from the beginning, from childhood, whatever we have done, we remember. But the body is changing. Why? Because the samsara, we are caught up in the samsara. But the Atma within is changes. God is the ultimate one who doesn't change at all. That's why he's called Urdhva. He is also Poshanatvat Urdhvam. Poshanatvat Urdhvam. God is also who is one who is giving us nourishment. The nourisher, one who gives nourishment, is higher than one who gets nourished. We are getting nourished. The God is one who actually gives us nourishment. That's why He is higher. That's why He's called Urdhvam. Shashanatvat Urdhvam. One who is the ruler, one who rules or makes the rules, is higher than one who obeys the rules, just follows the rule. So, person who is actually creating the rules is higher. And God is the one who actually creates the rules for this world. We don't create the rules of this. When the sun has to rise, when the moon has to rise, we don't create such rules. He creates the rules. That's why He is high. That's why He's called Urdhva. Right? One who makes the sentient beings is higher. You see, the most grossest thing is this body. Above that is the mind. Above that is the intelligence. Above that is the false ego. Above that is the soul. And above that is the Paramatma. The most subtlest of the subtlest thing is the God. And that's why He's Urdhvam. Right? So, if you understand like this, when Krishna is beginning this chapter called Urdhva Moolam Adashakham, Urdhva Moolam, actually, Urdhva, the word itself is representing God. So, it is not an inauspicious beginning, it is actually an auspicious beginning because it is directly giving us the different aspects of the Lord. Urdhva means how God is so high. Why He is so high? Because He is the cause, He is the nourisher, He is the ruler, He is actually the one who actually the most sentient, He is the most subtlest. That is why God is higher. Urdhva Moolam. God is always. The roots are high. That's why the roots are on the top. This particular samsara vriksha has the Lord on the top. The Lord is actually on the higher side. And what is saying? Adashakham. Adashakham means The shakha means what? Branches. They are on the lower side. Now, what is lower? Everything that is lower is called, what is lower? The effect is lower. The cause is higher, the effect is lower. The nourisher is higher, the nourished is lower. The ruler is on the top, the ruled is lower. So, adashakam, we are all at the lower stage when compared to God, who is urdhva. Moolam, adashakam. He is urdhva moolam, we are adashakam. We are in this material world. And what are the leaves? Like earlier mentioned in this verse also, leaves are called the Chandamsi. Chandamsi means Veda mantras. The Veda mantras are very integral part of the whole knowledge, the body of knowledge that we have. What does the leaves do in a tree? What are the leaves doing in a tree? What do they do? Kaushik, what do the leaves do in a tree?
Um, Leaves in a tree. They
Yeah, leaves.
blow.
Yeah, what do they do?
They blow.
Oh, that is the wind that blows. But what the wind? What are the? How are the leaves contributing to the tree?
Photosynthesis, like getting the sun and
Yes,
nourishing it.
that means what? Nourishment. The leaves are helping in the nourishment of the tree. Correct. That is the function of the leaves. And not just that, the another function they have, that is they cover the ugliness of the tree. Just branches, just the bark, no, no. They leaves nicely, they cover the tree. So they one is they beautify the tree and they also give nourishment to the tree. That is the function of the leaves. So the Veda mantras actually are the leaves which nourishes this samsara tree. That means what, Prabhu? Are the Vedas are misguiding us? You are talking, you are saying that this vriksha is a samsara vriksha, and now you are saying the Veda mantras are actually nourishing this tree, this samsara vriksha. What are you saying? That means the Vedas are actually misguiding us? Is it so? No. We should know that in this material world, there are different types of people who are sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic people, right? So there are different types of people, and different types of people require different type of nourishment. A person who is healthy has a different diet than the person who is diseased. Correct? A person who is actually diseased has a different type of diet. So the Vedas are also understanding this fact that there are different types of people. The Vedas are broadly divided into two. There is Karma Kanda, there is Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, very important. Of course, there is Upasana Kanda also, that is Bhakti. But broadly speaking, there is Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda means what? Karma Kanda means that which deals only with Dharma, Artha, and Kama is what is Karma Kanda. The 90% of the Vedas actually deal with the Karma Kanda. Dharma, Artha, Kama. It has nothing to do with moksha. There are four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, but the Karma Kanda portion of the Veda deal with only Dharma, Artha, and Kama. The word karma means what? Action. It tells, oh, you perform action. To whom is it telling perform action? To the most lazy people, the tamasic people and the rajasic people who really don't want to do anything. The karma kanda portion is saying, at least, oh Baba, come. At least you fulfill your material desires. Take up this karma kanda. Don't be lazy. Work. Get up and work. Don't be tamasic. At least you work and become rajasic. Idea of the Vedas is what? To make people come to the sattvic, sattva guna. But somebody who is tamo guna, the karma kanda portion says, come on, now you work. Karma kanda, what basically says is, why he has to get inspired, right? Now, a person who is really tamasic, he needs some inspiration. To do what? Why he gets inspired? Because Karma Kanda tells him, you will get this. What will he get? Dhanam, Dhanyam, Pashum, Bahuputra Labham. Then Shata Samvatsara Dirgha Ayuhu. What are you going to get, oh tamasic person? You will get dhanam. People always want some money. Why? Because when money is there, or they say no, that money is sweeter than honey. So people are working so hard. Why? Because they want dhanam. But unfortunately, in the modern times, they are thinking that the piece of paper is dhanam. Now to even worse, they think that some numbers on the computer screen in your mobile phone, some numbers will be displayed. Your account is credited or debited with this much amount. The numbers only we see. In reality, you don't have any number, any money. Even that paper money is gone now. At least you could feel that paper and at least feel happy. But today that also is not there. Everything is digital transactions. You actually, in one sense, you have no dhana. Tomorrow the bank collapses, you don't know what will happen. All the numbers are gone. So in dhanam, in olden times was gold. Dhanyam. If you have food grains, a lot of food grains, then you are actually rich. That's one kind of opulence that you have. Dhanyam. Many people don't have dhanyam at home. If you have good dhanyam, yes, then it is you are a very rich person. In olden days, pashum. Pashu means if you have good animals, like you have cattle, you especially cows. You know what did Nanda Maharaj had? Nanda Baba had 9 lakh cows. All the people in Gokul, they had so many cows. What is that? Wealth. Cows means wealth. Where do we have that wealth today? We don't have wealth. No cows, no wealth. Right? Bhahuputra labham. If you have lot of children and lot of grandchildren, then you are considered to be very, very rich and happy, opulent. Today, where people are having children, one child, two child maximum. Beyond that, people don't think of children. Children means burden today. They don't think it is as an asset. They think that children are liabilities. Big problem. That's the kind of mentality people have developed. They don't understand this fact. And then what? Shata Samvatsara Dirgha Ayuhu. So people who are tamasic, when they hear all this, ah, they get little bit of hope. Ah, yes, let me work hard. Karma kanda, let me perform karma. Why? How do I perform karma? Yes, I will involve God in my life, and by pleasing that God, I will get all these things. It means what? In karma kanda, a person, he makes God as the means and the world as the goal of life. God as the means and the goal of life is this world. This is what Karma Kanda. Many people in this world, especially in India, you see, they go to temples regularly. They do morning all this puja part and everything they do. All these things they follow. Why? Because they want to go to God so that they can achieve all that they want in this world. So God is the means. The goal is not God. The goal is this material world for them. This is Karma Kanda. This is what happens. Understanding the point? So this is another aspect to this Veda is Jnana Kanda. What Jnana Kanda does, like Upanishad, Gita Upanishad, what we are understanding is Gita Upanishad, one of the Upanishad. This is Jnana Kanda. We are not interested in Karma Kanda. We are discussing about Jnana Kanda. What is this Jnana Kanda? In this Jnana Kanda, we are not going to nourish this samsara. Karma kanda, what is it doing? It is nourishing. They are the leaves, right? But these are the leaves which are nourishing this samsara. Get more, they do this. They are all interested in dhanam, dhanyam, pashum, bahuputra labham, all these things. They are nourishing this tree. But jnana kanda is meant to cut off this tree. That is the difference. We are here what? Not to nourish the tree, but to cut off the tree. Jnana Kanda, people who are sattvic in nature, who wants to progress in spiritual life, They don't want to nourish this tree, they want to cut off, chop off this tree. They want to make this world as the means and God as the goal of their life. That is the difference. Karma Kanda, they want to make God as the means and they want to attain the world. But Jnana Kanda, they make this world as the means, but the goal is God. They will utilize everything. The devotees will utilize everything in this world, like the laptop, like the mobile phones, all these things we are able to use. But our goal is not to get caught up in this, but our goal is to actually understand God. That is the goal. That is what we are looking after. Please understand. So this is what the difference between Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda, it encourages a person to work hard. It is meant for lazy people, for Rajasic and Tamasic people, right? It is not what we are. We are not interested in that. We are interested in nourishing our soul, not nourishing this body. Right? Karma Kanda nourishes the body, Jnana Kanda nourishes the soul. And we are interested in that. And that is why we are understanding Bhagavad Gita and nothing else. We are here to actually nourish our soul. Very important. But that is also important for those people. Not that we are rejecting Karma Kanda. See, when a fruit, if it wants to get ripe, it has to be connected with the tree. As long as the fruit is connected to the tree, it gets nourished, right? It becomes ripe, correct? Then when it is fully ripe, it will automatically fall. It will get disconnected, right? So similarly, for all these people who are now like unripe fruit, they have to be connected to this tree. They have to be connected to the samsara tree. But when they will get ripe, they will get disconnected automatically. But we have to wait for that. So for now, it is better they are connected, at least to this Vedic mantras. They accept the God. Okay, God is giving me all these things. Instead of not believing in God, it is good at least you believe in God and get all these material things. That is what Karma Kanda says. Don't be an atheist, be a theist. Why you be atheist? Because you will get everything that you want. You can satisfy all your desires. Right? That is why they go to God. Karma Kanda says, okay, that is fine. So our idea is about this Urdhamulam Adashakam. Why Krishna is saying and mentioning all this important thing to us is we should know that we are here not simply to nourish this material body. We have to go higher, understand that I'm not a part of this samsara vriksha. I don't want to be a part of this samsara vriksha. I want to build my spiritual life nicely. I want to get connected with God. And that's why Krishna is stressing upon this point that this tree, if you can understand properly, you will be the knower of the Vedas. So if you can understand both aspects, that this Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, and then, of course, when we understand, come to the point of Jnana Kanda, and then we understand Upasana Kanda, that is actually engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. That will be the perfection. So very, very important. Now, does this mean, Prabhuji, that we are not supposed to, work for our prosperity? No, it is not like that. You can work as much as you want and develop your material prosperity. There is no wrong about it, nothing wrong about it. But you should know deeply that it is not permanent. It is going to change. We have to leave everything back. All that we have earned, all these material assets have to be left here in this material world and we have to go. That we have to understand. It's going to change. The situations will change. The, the things that we have around us will change for sure. This is the core thing. The message of this whole thing is Krishna is saying that please chant Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada is saying chant Hare Krishna mantra because that is the root of everything. Root of everything is Krishna. And when we chant Krishna's name, we are getting connected to the roots. We want to get connected to the roots. That is so important for us because he is higher and we have to get connected to that person whom We already have a connection, but we have forgotten that connection. So that's why this is the most complicated thing. This Urdhva Moolam Adashakam is very, very special. Of course, in the next upcoming verses, we will understand many more details about this tree, but this tree is special. It's very unique. So we will uh, dive more deeper into this tree of samsara vriksha. Krishna is going to explain about the branches and the leaves and everything else more about this going forward. But if you have any questions now, you can feel free to ask any questions. It's going to be philosophical going forward. Like I said, this is sometimes beyond our idea because we have not seen anything like this. But Krishna is that's why explaining to us that how this is an inverted tree. This is an inverted tree. Just like when you have a tree on the bank of a river and there is a reflection, right? There's a reflection. If you see the reflection, in that reflection, you will see the roots are on the top and the branches are below. So it is like that. This tree is like that. Something just to for us to understand. So when we see the reflection of the tree in the water, it looks as if it is inverted. The tree is inverted. So this is that tree. It is this material world is actually a reflection of the spiritual world. This material world is nothing but the reflection of the spiritual world.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Prabhuji, you had mentioned, you had taught us about this similar kind of tree when you had explained the planetary systems, the 14 planetary systems.
Hmm.
Is
Yes.
this the same thing or?
Yes. Actually, this samsara vriksha that we are talking about is also including this all the 14 planetary systems, including this whole universe. This whole material world is actually this inverted tree. So when Krishna talks about the branches, now he's going to talk about this other shakam and all that we will discuss in the next verses also. These different 14 planetary systems are nothing but representing these branches only. This, which is a part of this material, this samsara vriksha. So anything that is there in this material universe is actually a part of this samsara vriksha. Very terrific tree this is. So yes, this is the same tree we are discussing now. But this is a tree which will explain to us about everything that is there in this material world, but it is inverted. Why it is inverted? Because it is everything that is in the original is reflected back here and it is perverted. Love becomes lust here, right? So in the spiritual world there is love, but in this material world it is lust. So everything gets perverted. Just like when you see in the mirror also yourself, you know, so it's a reflection. It's a reflection. So it is when we see a reflection, it is inverted sometimes. Many times when we take a selfie also in the mobile phone, you see actually I am raising my right hand, but actually in the mobile phone it is the left hand. It's perverted. So this material world is like that. It is perverted reflection. So that's why Krishna is making us understand that how this perverted reflection is the material world, and I am the urdhva moolam. I am the root of this. I am the one actually who is nourishing this. The spiritual world or the material world. Krishna is the one who actually nourishes this. But Krishna is saying, you are getting caught up with this suffering here. Don't get into this entanglement of this tree. You now come out of this. See, Krishna is so merciful. He is also telling us and making us aware of our problems. What is our problem? The cause of our problem and the solution, how to get out of this problem. Everything is explained. That's why we are not interested in Karma Kanda. We are interested in Jnana Kanda. That's why Bhagavad Gita. It's a study. You have to study Bhagavad Gita so that we develop that knowledge, Jnana. Right? Hmm. So there are many more things to explain, and there are some wonderful things to be understood also. This is going to be very special, going to understand about this samsara vriksha more and more going forward. Right? So please take care. If you have any questions, you can message them in the WhatsApp group. Thank you so much for joining, and we will meet again next Sunday. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.